What if I asked you a question that turned your entire perception of reality upside down? What if I told you that right now, an object from another star system is not only flying through our solar system, but is actively breaking the laws of physics as we know it? This isn't science fiction. In fact, recent statistical models suggest that our solar system is visited by interstellar objects like this as often as 7 times a year. Most of them pass by unnoticed, like ships in the night. But this is different. This time we're not looking at a silent rock. We're looking at something that's forcing NASA scientists into a heated debate that could rewrite everything we know about the universe. This mysterious object is called 3I Atlas, and what it's doing is by all accounts physically impossible. I'm talking about behavior so unusual that when the first streams of data were collected, researchers initially assumed it was an instrument error. But every diagnostic confirmed that the instruments were working with perfect precision. And what they detected suggested that we might be observing something much more profound than a mere comet hurtling through interstellar space. Let me be clear. In my 50 years as a theoretical physicist, I have seen scientists repeatedly dismiss extraordinary discoveries simply because they don't fit our established models. But with Atlas 3I, we have no choice. Anomalies are accumulating with such speed and consistency that even the most mainstream astronomers are now asking questions they once believed belonged only to science fiction. And most worryingly, the official channels are giving us far less information than they actually know. To understand this mystery that has scientists on edge, we have to go back to September 13th, when the Atlas survey in Hawaii unexpectedly detected a strange object from interstellar space entering the solar system. At first, it had the familiar shape of a comet reminiscent of Oumuamua or Borisov, and was named 3I Atlas, the third interstellar visitor ever confirmed. But just a few weeks later, everything that seemed familiar started to get strange. On October 3rd, 3I Atlas passed Mars at a distance of 18 million miles. NASA, ESA, and China immediately mobilized a series of spacecraft to measure its gravity, the most important indicator to determine the nature of an interstellar object. But when the data came back, the entire scientific community was stunned. 3I Atlas's gravity was almost zero. This result was not only slightly misleading, but also completely contrary to all existing physical models. What's even more puzzling is that 3I Atlas's estimated size is only 3 to 30 meters. But its mass is around 33 billion tons, equivalent to more than 500,000 Great Pyramids of Giza. With such an absurd density, it should have caused the orbits of the satellites around Mars to fluctuate. But all the sensors were silent, registering no gravitational effects. The question immediately arises: how can such a small object possess such enormous mass without generating a corresponding gravitational pull? Is 3I Atlas a hollow structure covered in some unknown superdense material? Or does it contain some technology that can cancel or mask its gravitational field? Some researchers are even beginning to wonder if it is a natural celestial body or something created by an extraterrestrial civilization with an unknown purpose. For now, 3I Atlas continues to drift through space like a cosmic ghost, revealing no clues as to its true nature. The less data, the greater the curiosity, and the question remains: what is 3I Atlas, and what lies within this object that defies all human understanding? The phenomenon is a direct blow to Einstein's general theory of relativity, which holds that mass must create a curvature in space-time. If that theory is correct, why does an object estimated to weigh 33 billion tons not exert any gravitational influence? This question has many scientists wondering whether we are dealing with an observational illusion or a form of matter that does not obey the familiar laws of gravity at all. From a scientific perspective, the problem is even more serious. In astrophysics, all predictions of orbits are based on density and mass. An object with volume must have mass, and that mass must generate gravity. But 3I Atlas defies this seemingly immutable rule. This leads to the hypothesis that the object may be extremely porous, so light that it is almost hollow, or made of exotic materials that science has yet to identify. Not everyone is convinced by this natural explanation, however. Some more daring researchers have suggested that 3I Atlas could be a purpose-built hollow structure that could contain mass-locking technology to mask the effects of gravity. Some have even gone so far as to suggest that it could be some kind of reconnaissance device. an experiment sent to observe human reactions to something we cannot explain. Whatever the case, one thing is undeniable. 3I Atlas has broken every limit of understanding we thought we had. It has forced us to confront the biggest question modern science has ever posed. Do we truly understand the universe we live in, or are we just scratching the surface of a much larger, mysterious structure? This leads to two seemingly impossible scenarios, each of which shakes the deepest foundations of modern physics and cosmology. The first suggests that Atlas 3I may be made of a form of exotic matter so light that it renders the periodic table meaningless. A substance lighter than artificial gas gel, a form of matter that no current model of elementary particles can explain. If true, Atlas 3I is the first evidence that matter in the universe may be much more diverse than we imagine, even outside the realm of standard physics. The second, scarier and bolder scenario leads us to an even more unpalatable possibility. 3I Atlas is virtually empty inside, with only a thin shell surrounding it. Hollow comets are something that scientists have all but confirmed cannot form naturally. Comets form over billions of years of accumulating dust and ice, forming a solid structure from core to shell. There are no laws of physics that allow for the formation of a hollow shell in nature. But 3I Atlas, by defying all of those models, forces humanity to confront a terrifying question. If nature didn't create it, then who did? A purposefully hollow structure always implies engineering, technology, and purpose. And when there is purpose, there is certainly intelligence behind it. So could 3I Atlas be a probe disguised as a comet, a communication station drifting between the stars, or even a cosmic signal sent by another civilization? Such questions were once considered fantastical, but now scientists are forced to confront them head-on. A new category has even been proposed: unexplained interstellar objects, where natural origin is no longer the default. As an astrophysicist at Harvard, I analyzed the rotational dynamics of 3I Atlas and found that its rotation rate was completely inconsistent with conventional physical models. It was spinning too slowly for a solid object, but too stable for a compact comet. Such stability could only be achieved if its mass were distributed deliberately, that is, if it were hollow. The way 3I Atlas rotates suggests that it is unusually stable, like an object with a very precise distribution of mass. That smoothness is typically found in structures that are deliberately designed, not in rocks or comets that form randomly in space. But that's just the beginning of the skepticism. If 3I Atlas is indeed a man-made object, the questions facing humanity are much bigger than where did it come from? What makes us shudder is the most profound question. What was it created for? And more importantly, who brought it to the center of our solar system? The second anomaly shocked scientists even more than the mass issue. Comet 3I Atlas was slowing down. If the figure is correct, it would represent not just a technical error, but a blatant violation of the fundamental laws of physics that humanity has relied on for hundreds of years. Normally, any comet approaching the sun should accelerate. The high temperatures cause ice and gas on the surface to sublimate, creating jet streams that act like miniature engines, propelling the comet forward. This is basic Newtonian mechanics, knowledge that has been tested over centuries of observation. Even Oumuamua, the first interstellar object to confound astronomers, showed a slight acceleration as it moved away from the sun, though there was no sign of outgassing. This could at least be attributed to solar radiation pressure, although that remains a mystery. But Atlas 3I is different. It defies all known laws. Between September 23rd and 26th, data from the James Webb Space Telescope, ground-based radar, and Doppler measurements from Mars orbit all matched in remarkable fashion. The Atlas 3I satellite's velocity dropped from 26.3 meters per second to 26.2 meters per second. A change of just 0.12 meters per second may sound small, but in the world of celestial mechanics, it was a telltale sign, a change that could not have occurred without a deliberate force. No amount of instrument error could have produced such a smooth, steady deceleration. What terrifies scientists is that there is no natural phenomenon in interplanetary space that can slow down an object moving at such great speeds. Solar radiation can only accelerate objects. Cometary outgassing always creates acceleration, never acts as a brake. The sun's gravity, by all laws, can only pull objects inward, making them speed up, never slowing them down. So what is holding 3I Atlas back? This question opens up a terrifying space for scientific imagination and speculation. If it is indeed slowing down in a controlled manner, it would imply that 3I Atlas is not just a drifting object, but a structure capable of adjusting its own motion. In that case, the term comet would no longer be appropriate, and its true nature would become a matter of unresolved understanding. If an interstellar object is both hollow like an artificial construct and decelerating as if under control, the next question humanity is forced to face is, where is 3I Atlas controlling itself? And more importantly, who or what is behind that control? This is where the laws of thermodynamics and conservation of momentum come into play. In a vacuum, there is no air, no friction, no medium to slow down. An object can only slow down if a force is acting on it. But in this case, there is absolutely no natural source that could explain 3I Atlas's deceleration. That raises a more difficult possibility. Is it the result of an artificial control system, some unknown form of anti-gravity technology, or even a sign that an intelligence is actively interfering with the object's motion? That question still hangs in the cold air, where the line between science and mystery becomes strangely thin. To get closer to the answer, we start to examine each hypothesis. And surprisingly, each opens a door to deeper layers of mystery. The first hypothesis suggests that 3I Atlas could act like a solar sail, but in reverse. Instead of being propelled faster by photon pressure, it could use a precisely angled, highly reflective surface to catch light, like a giant cosmic parachute, creating drag that would slow it down. This would require near-perfect attitude control, a level of active steering that only man-made spacecraft can achieve. Remarkably, the spectroscopic data further supported this hypothesis. 3I Atlas's surface has an unusually shiny, metallic, mirror-like reflection, in stark contrast to the dark, dusty, icy surfaces of natural comets. But what surprised scientists most was not its reflection, but its rotation. 3I Atlas doesn't spin wildly like a typical comet, but spins with near-perfect stability, like a perfectly balanced flywheel, despite millions of years of drifting through microscopic collisions and cosmic radiation. A natural object cannot maintain such stability. Only objects with active attitude control systems, only spacecraft designed with gyroscopes or microthrusters, such as spacecraft designed with gyroscopes or microthrusters, can maintain such smooth and stable rotation. If this is not a coincidence, but the result of a deliberate design, then 3I Atlas is slowly revealing its true nature. Not a comet, but perhaps a device created by a civilization advanced enough to control the movement of a large object moving through interstellar space. And if that is the case, the next question is even more terrifying. What is its purpose? And why did it choose to appear in the solar system at this time? The second hypothesis leads us to an even more mysterious scenario. 3I Atlas could be powered by some form of invisible propulsion, an electromagnetic drive system or ion propulsion technology so advanced that its emissions are lower than all current instruments can detect. Some observers have noticed a faint greenish glow around the object, like a haze of ionized plasma, a sign that an ion engine is operating. If this phenomenon is real, then 3I Atlas is using technology far beyond human standards, a propulsion system so sophisticated that we have never seriously hypothesized. But what worries scientists most is the issue of energy. To slow or change the velocity of a 33 billion ton object would require a massive, steady, sustainable source of energy over millennia. No known natural process could provide that kind of energy. This raises a haunting question. If this is indeed an artificial propulsion system, who or what is powering it? A third theory takes this speculation to a more daring level. Some scientists have suggested that 3I Atlas may be using gravitation, that is, using the pull of planets to adjust its orbit, similar to the way humans use gravity to assist interplanetary probes. The October 3rd flyby of Mars appears to have altered its velocity with unusual precision. Its upcoming trajectory makes things even more suspicious. 3I Atlas will pass Venus in early 2025 and then pass through Jupiter's gravitational influence in March. All of these close encounters will take place at incredibly precise times and locations. The odds of a randomly drifting interstellar object making 3 such perfect planetary close encounters are about 1 in 50,000. This probability is equivalent to flipping a coin and getting heads 15 times in a row. A series of coincidences so absurd that many people have to wonder, is this really just a random act of nature, or is it a meticulously calculated journey by some intelligence controlling the Atlas 3I? Regardless of the theory, whether it's a reverse solar sail, an invisible ion engine, or a gravitational positioning, they all lead to the same chilling conclusion. 3I Atlas is no random wanderer. Every piece of data suggests it's actively braking, deliberately adjusting its speed and trajectory, behaving more like a spacecraft preparing to dock than a natural comet. It seems to have a plan to stay in the solar system for purposes that humanity can only speculate about in the wildest of hypotheses. It was here that the conversation shifted from science to something much more nebulous: silence from space agencies. After 3I Atlas flew by Mars on October 3rd, the scientific community expected immediate access to close-up images, spectroscopic data, and detailed orbital analysis, but none of that information was released. NASA unexpectedly announced a government shutdown just 2 days before the event, a coincidence so bizarre that many believed it was a legal way to delay the release of information. ESA said the data was still being processed, but did not provide a timeline. China's space agency, known for its rapid release of images from major missions, went completely silent, not releasing a single frame. This collective silence has happened before. In 2017, when Oumuamua passed by, radar and spectroscopic data were delayed for months without clear explanation. In 2019, with Comet Borisov, the same scenario repeated itself. And now, with 3I Atlas, history seems to be repeating itself, with puzzling delays and a worrying lack of transparency from the very agencies established to share knowledge. In the age of global information, when a tweet is enough to tell the world, silence is more valuable than any statement. When agencies do not speak up, it is no longer a lack of data, but an implicit message. Are they hiding something, or do they not know how to explain the phenomenon? Whatever the answer, that wall of silence has become the most terrifying part of the 3I Atlas mystery. Not because of what it says, but because of the vast gaps left unsaid. What haunts me most is what happened on October 29th, when the 3I Atlas satellite made its closest approach to the Sun, about 1.36 astronomical units away, right in Mars orbit. There, it was subjected to intense heat and solar radiation. But at that time, the Earth was on the opposite side of the Sun, rendering all telescopes useless. For weeks, we saw absolutely nothing, and perhaps something happened to that data loss. Normally, a natural comet that reaches perihelion would break apart due to extreme heat or vaporization, leaving behind a bright tail. But when 3I Atlas reappeared in late November 2025, it was incredibly intact. No debris, no tail, no damage. For an object thought to be made of loose ice and dust, this makes absolutely no sense. Comets are fragile, easily disintegrating in the heat of the sun. Yet 3I Atlas survived the explosion at over 1,900,000 kilometers per hour. The question is, what protected it? An unknown material? A self-regulating mechanism? Or worse, did it change in ways we were not ready to understand during those dark times? I have a bold hypothesis. 3. Atlas could be a mothership, an interstellar vehicle carrying smaller objects in the vacuum, released during perihelion, when the sun is hidden from all observers. I liken it to a dandelion scattering seeds into space. If so, those seeds could have been released during the time when we were out of contact with observers, quietly wandering between orbits in the solar system for some unknown purpose. 3I Atlas defies the laws of physics. Hollow where it should be solid, slowing down where it should be accelerating, stable as if controlled, and withstanding the sun's extreme temperatures. Meanwhile, space agencies remain silent when humanity needs answers most. But this is not a reason to fear, but a call from the cosmos, an opportunity to rewrite our understanding. Every paradox is a door to new knowledge. 3I Atlas is still there, approaching Jupiter in 2026. And who knows? It could be the key to the next chapter of human exploration of the universe. Whether a natural phenomenon or a sign of other intelligence, 3i Atlas has achieved something extraordinary. It has made humanity look back, ask questions, and realize that the universe has never stopped challenging our imagination. Perhaps that is the true meaning of 3i Atlas, not an end, but a beginning. A reminder that the greatest barrier to knowledge lies not in interstellar distance, but in the complacency of our own minds. It teaches that only through curiosity, doubt, and a thirst for knowledge can one reach the truth. The most valuable lesson here is that science is not about confirming what we already know, but about having the courage to admit what we don't know. We must be humble about what we don't know, because the moment we think we know it, all is the moment we stop learning. The story of 3i Atlas is not over yet. Maybe it was a strange natural phenomenon, or maybe it was the first evidence that we are not alone. Whatever it was, it did the most important thing: make us look up at the sky and wonder, what is the universe trying to tell us? If you want to follow this story as it unfolds, subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel. I will make follow-up videos as new data becomes available. Leave a comment below and let me know. What do you think we will learn about this interstellar visitor? Will it survive perihelion intact, or are we about to witness a fragmentation event? I have read all the comments and am curious to know what you think.